Hey everyone, and welcome back to the CAFS podcast. In today's podcast episode, I am chatting with the beautiful Nikki Bignell, and Nikki is one of our amazing CAFS collective members. And Nikki has been teaching CAFS for about 3 or so years. She's in a compressed curriculum school, and look, Nikki has been teaching PDHPE for about 13 years, and she has a wealth of knowledge with juniors, but she's only fairly new to seniors. So you're going to enjoy this episode to hear Nikki's introduction to seniors, how she runs compressed curriculum at her school, and how she is going to tackle her first lot of Year 11 exams for this year, and what she's loving about CAFS. And I can't wait for you to dive in. Enjoy this one. Hey, welcome. You're listening to the CAFS podcast. I'm your host and CAFS coach, Kelly Bell. My mission is to support community and family studies teachers like you. Whether you've been thrown in the deep end or you've been doing this for a while, I'm going to save your time, energy and well-being while using best practice to improve knowledge, increase empowerment and alleviate stress to help you and your students to make meaningful connections across the course. Early on, it was just me, the syllabus and a textbook. I had no idea what I was doing, trust me. Today I'll share strategic and purposeful applications to CAFS from my 16 years experience in the classroom and 12 years as a go-to expert across New South Wales. These strategies have been developed for you to increase student motivation, enjoyment, engagement, and HSC results. Now I spend my time supporting thousands of CAFS teachers and students inside the Learning Network through my membership, coaching and mentoring, online courses, resources, and masterclasses. My dream to help CAFS teachers full-time has become a reality. Together, we will grow and transform your CAFS crew to the next level without impacting your sleep and well-being in the process. If you're ready to teach CAFS with a more strategic approach, so your students love our subject while achieving the results they want, you're in the right place. To develop their writing, fast-track success and improve HSC results, I've developed a free webinar for you to access at thelearnet.com/writing. Ready to get started? The CAFS podcast is your shortcut to simplified strategy to set you and your CAFS students up for success. So tune in, get inspired, and let's connect, learn, and go together. Hey everyone, and a huge welcome back to the CAFS podcast. Today I'm joined by a very special guest in Nikki Bignell, and Nick is part of our CAFS collective membership, but she's been in my sphere for a little while. She's taught CAFS for some time now, and look, I absolutely love working with her. She's a beautiful teacher, and she's been doing lots of amazing things with her CAFS and PDHPE students. So a huge welcome to you, Nick.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to be here.
My pleasure. Would you love to introduce yourself, a bit about your journey, about CAFS, how you kind of started in all this, and so our listeners hear a bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been teaching for, maybe like 13 years. It's bad when you forget how long you've been teaching for. And I mostly did junior PDHPE. So kind of had a focus on middle school, a bit of primary, spent a little bit of time overseas in Ethiopia, which was incredible. And I'd always been really terrified to step into seniors. And at my last school, I was kind of lucky. There was someone who did that. And about 2-3 years ago, I landed a new job, and part of that was teaching seniors. And my first senior class was 2021, and it was CAFS. And to be honest, I didn't know anything about CAFS really. Like I had a few friends that taught it. So it was like just going in pretty much blind. And I remember just Googling things, and I found you and was like, I've hit the jackpot. So I've been so lucky to, just journey with you for the last little bit. But yeah, we do compressed at our school. So we do a mixture of 1 year we'll do CAFS, and then on the opposite year we'll do PDHPE. So I'm in my second term of teaching CAFS this year with my crew.
That's so awesome. And look, like I said at the beginning, your journey is amazing. You, working in Ethiopia just blows my mind. And I think that'd be a whole nother conversation, I think, about that journey and that side of teaching. But look, when you first kind of connected with me on Instagram, I think it was, and you introduced yourself and said, look, I'm doing compressed curriculum. What is this going to look like for CAFS? And I'm going to be really honest, like I have never taught compressed curriculum for CAFS. We always just had, a standard 2 term or 7 terms of it. But what does that look like on the ground? I know we do have quite a few. I think there's about 3 or 4 of you guys inside the CAFS collective with a compressed curriculum. What does that mean? Like if you're teaching CAFS, what does that actually mean day to day?
So I was lucky in that I did my own HSC through compressed curriculum as well. So I had that background knowledge. And I know some schools do like a mixture, a bit of a hybrid approach of like English and maths might be traditional approach, and then other subjects are compressed. But where I am now, we do all of our subjects compressed. So they do sit 3 subjects a year. And we start at the end of term 4. So we roughly start in about week 6. They start their prelim courses. So they're in a mixed class of, we just call them seniors. So it's our year 11 and 12s together. So they'll start week 6, usually get through, that first module. I typically give them an assessment task due at the start of the next year, because it is just like, finding your feet for a lot of them. Like, you're basically doing your HSE in double time. And then all of term 1 is the rest of your prelim course. So right now they're just sitting their prelim exams, end of course exams. And then terms 2 and 3, they work through the HSE courses. And yeah, same thing, roughly about week 6 is when they sit their trial exams. And then they do their HSE for those 3 subjects each year. So it's kind of like at the end of year 11, they get to say goodbye to those subjects and then start afresh with another 3 subjects the year after.
So it's all like just jam-packed into a really short space of time. How do you find the energy and how do you keep that momentum going with your CAFS crew, but also, for PE? How do you just keep that kind of going for those kids?
I would say it is really hard. I guess the good thing is that they have generally chosen this subject because it's for some, reason, whether it's for work or uni or, they have a general interest. But you do have to, just be constantly on them of like, you can't miss work, you've got to be catching up. Like, if they miss, if they're sick for a week, that's actually a huge chunk that they've missed. So lots of support and encouragement, just making sure your teaching strategies are really engaging. And I'm always like looking around our school and seeing what other people are doing. And because I'm only new, like this is my 3rd year of teaching seniors, so I'm still learning myself.
And do you find that you, like, when you're in it, do you ever feel like you're rushing through content, or because you have that extra time to see them, you have a bit of flexibility? Like, how does that look in terms of timetabling? How many hours a week do you see your CAFS kids?
Yeah, so we see them for at least a double period every single day. Typically, it can change depending if some staff are part-time, but mostly this year I have either doubles, I have a triple sometimes. So we do get through a lot, and we have a really great class dynamic because we do see so much of each other. It is like, just, it feels like you are constantly just like, quick, we've got to get through it. Especially when you have things like, schools are busy places. So you might have a gala day, they might go to the uni discovery day or something. And so you can get a few lessons wiped out here and there, but you just have to be really diligent with your time management. And generally, like, it's, very much planned out to every period, basically, for me, anyway.
Yeah, and there's no fluff. You have to get straight to the point, which is kind of good, because I think, I know for me in the early days of teaching CAFS, I would often just take forever doing something, or go, oh, let's watch this, documentary or movie. Like, I spent 3 lessons watching Castaway for some stupid reason, back in the early 2000s. But I thought that that's what CAFS was about, because there's this public perception that, it's really kind of fluffy. It's like, the dumb cousin of PDHPE. And I think maybe that's why we still have such a big gap between, our HSC results, because people still have that, that perception that it is, a lot easier, when in reality, it's super hard to have all those little connection points. Obviously now it's very different, but I would love to hear, like, how do you map out your assessment schedule? What does it look like? Where do you get started? I know there are quite a few schools, especially small kind of schools. It seems to be either private schools or Christian schools that do a compressed curriculum. What does that look like in terms of assessing your kids?
Yeah, well, I've been really lucky that the person who taught CAFS before me had the most amazing programs and assessment schedules. So I've kind of just been going off what they had previously. And then, of course, like, looking at, I've done a few of your courses and sort of hearing your feedback of like where you would plan things out. I have made a few tweaks here and there, but I typically sort of stick to what's been done in the past because, the previous person was super knowledgeable and just, had a great plan that worked. And so I just wanted to build upon what they had, knowing that it was successful in the past.
Yeah, and it's kind of like don't rock the boat. Like if it's working, don't change it. I think sometimes we make it so much work for ourselves. Hey, when we like go, oh, let's change this because I can. But I think just sticking to something that's worked in the past. Obviously, it's been successful for your colleague that's worked at the school. So how do you I know that you're in exam period now. So at the end of term 1, 2023, at the time of the recording. How does that look in terms of do you have 3 assessment tasks for year 11? And how do you plan that out over, the space of only 2 terms?
Yeah, so for year 11, I do give them 3 assessment tasks. So I did one for resource management quite early on, and then one for individuals and groups, and then the prelim exam and of course exam. So that just fitted in quite nicely. Tried to sort of space them out to give enough time to focus on each. And of course, you're also working with the demands of every other subject, making sure that there isn't too many exams due on the 1 week and things like that. So it is a bit of give and take with other subjects, but we do the best that we can. Again, we're a pretty small school, so it's not like a huge, issue to make it fit for everybody.
Yeah. And how many kids, how many CAFS crew are in your class this year?
So I have 6 this year.
And what did you have last round?
Last time I had 4, so it has grown, which is really exciting.
It's excellent. And has the school ever had more than 10 or so, or has it always been a really small number?
I think perhaps 8 has been the most. Yeah, looking back in previous years.
And so how many kids at the school altogether?
We've got about 210 in high school.
Yeah, okay. And then how many seniors would you have?
I think there's about 40.
Okay. Yeah, so there's lots of small schools out there that I think sometimes, I've worked with a variety of schools across New South Wales, rural, lots in Sydney that are small Christian schools. And I hats off to you, Nick. I don't know how you guys get it done, because I always felt the pressure to get everything, across to my kids, but then also to do it really well, and writing and all those sorts of things. How do you kind of create those foundational skills that we often start to work on in seniors? Is that a clear progression from year 7 to kind of help them quickly move to that transition, to seniors kind of study?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, I'm still really fresh in my senior teaching journey. But that's, one thing that I've really noticed is how important the nest of verbs are. And a lot of kids kind of come into seniors and don't really know the difference. And so they're not answering the questions at the required level. And so that's something in my junior classes that I like to really focus on so that they're set up well for when they do get to seniors.
Yeah. And I think we often take it for granted, that they are expected to know this stuff. But if we don't teach it in the junior years, there's no way that they can just know it. And those verbs, like you said, are so crucial. And I talk about this a lot in the CAFS collective. I reckon they're often even half marks. The kids are missing out on crucial marks because they're not actually addressing that verb. If they have the content, it's great. A lot of the kids love the content. It's really easy to kind of learn. It's great. It's applicable. But then they forget that other half of it. They have to, use the verbs, use words to kind of show what they know, use the examples, and then bring it all together. It is quite often really tricky. All right, let's talk about what you're about to embark on. So you've got 6 kids. You're about to assess their year 11 exam. What's going to be your approach with them? Are you going to kind of put into do a bit of a read through first? How are you going to approach marking your kids' papers?
Sorry, the year 11 paper that I've just marked then. Done.
Yeah.
I don't really know, to be quite honest. I really struggle with marking. I'm pretty slow. But just going through, I look at the marking guidelines, I look at the sample answers and see, where my kids lie in their responses. I would say personally, I'm not super confident in my marking, and that's only because I don't have, many years of experience under my belt yet. So it's something that I'm definitely looking to grow in my marking journey.
Yeah, and I think again, no one teaches us that at uni. I was the exact same. Like I think I had maybe four rotations through, and I would look at their papers and go, "Oh, I kind of like I'm reading it, but what am I actually looking for? What does success look like?" And I think I feel very lucky and privileged to be able to have 16 years HSC marketing experience under my belt, and that's what I think that's what I bring to to the Learning Network, to our CAFS collective membership, because I have all that expertise and that experience. But when I first started, I had no idea. Like I had no idea what, 6 out of 6 looked like, or, a 4 out of 8, what I was looking for. It all just seemed like words on the page. And sometimes I'd go, like, I don't know if his mark's right. Like I'm going to give it a 4, but I actually don't really know if that's what is looking for. So I think, please don't be hard on yourself. It is something that definitely comes with practice. As soon as I did HSC marking, that completely changed my mindset. It changed the way I marked. It made me really efficient, and it made me kind of know what to look for. But it's all those little things, hey, like the processes, like, am I going to kind of put it into 3 piles? Am I going like a high, middle, low? Am I going to mark per question? I actually had that question, I can't remember, maybe it was something in the CAFS collective. Can't remember if it was in there or on the CAFS community Facebook page. Anyway, they said to me, how would you approach it? And I said, I would actually mark it per question, because that's what happens at HSC marking. You actually go, 1 question at a time, start with questions, say 21, 15 multiple choice or 20 multiple choice, whatever it is, and then go through it like that, and then kind of strategically mark it, 1 question at a time. Then you can kind of go, okay, that student's done that according to the guidelines. What benchmark am I kind of looking for? What does success look like for this response? If it's a 4 marker, where am I actually going to award that 4 out of 4? What does a 3 out of 4 look like? And then kind of go about it that way. So I suggested to this teacher, I said, look, do it 1 by 1. That will give you clarity. It will give you confidence to also then move through the paper. Now, I know some teachers don't do it like that. They mark it per paper, but I know for me, I always just did it 1 question at a time. So it's probably not the most super efficient way to do it, but I think it just lets you get your head around that marking guideline. And then you've got that down pat. You can see, okay, this is what I'm looking for the 4, for the 3, for the 2, for the 1, and then unpack it that way. So look, don't be hard on yourself, because it's something that is so foreign if you haven't taught seniors for a long time. And I hadn't, like I was the same. Hadn't taught it for 4 years, and I kept teaching this stuff and going, okay, I don't know, am I just making this up? But I think HSC marking changed that. And obviously, within working with me, teachers can be part of that marking experience. So next term and term 3, I have the marking experience workshop where we kind of unpack that for everybody. So I'd love to finish on something that I ask all of my guests on my podcast, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for compressed curriculum, marking, all that sort of stuff. So thank you so much, Nick, for giving us a very small insight into what it's looked like for compressed curriculum. So we'll kind of obviously keep in contact. If any teachers want to reach out, obviously we'll share some links later on. But if you were giving your younger self some advice about life, what would it actually be?
Oh, that is a great question. I feel like there's so many things. I guess in the teaching sphere, like just being really organized, like set yourself up for success, and you'll reap the benefits later down the track. Like, yeah, I think that would be so important. So that would be my encouragement to myself.
Your younger self?
Yeah.
I know. Look, I think I was more organized as I was younger. Now it just feels like I'm just trying to do too much and try to, do all the things and wear all the hats for everyone and be there for everyone. But I think organization just makes it, even as a student or as a teacher, it just makes that your life just function a little bit better and easier. All right. Thank you so much for jumping on. And look, you're part of the CAFS collective, and I feel so blessed to be able to support you in an ongoing way. Nick, I forgot to ask you this actually. What's your favourite part of the CAFS collective membership?
Oh, there's so many great things about it. I just really appreciate, like you said, the ongoing support. So I love that I can just, chuck you an Instagram message or an email, chat through like we have just any question that I've got, like there's nothing that's too small or too big. So I really just appreciate you always, like, not only just checking in with us, but the support that you provide. It's really elevated what I've been able to do in my class. So I'm so grateful for you and for all that you offer through the CAFS Collective. It's amazing.
Thanks, Zeke. My pleasure. And look, I love supporting beautiful teachers that work hard, who are passionate, who love the course, and I don't know, just always willing to try new things and to challenge themselves. So if teachers would love to connect with you further, where can they find you?
So I've got an Instagram account called PDHPE.plus. So if they would love to connect, I'm always keen to hear what other teachers are up to and to learn from them as well. So I'd love to hear from others.
Fabulous. And we'll put a link in the show notes for people to come and find you and ask you questions about anything that we've covered today. But thanks again, Nick. I really appreciate you jumping on today with me.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Nick.
This podcast was brought to you by the CAFS Collective, which is the only CAFS membership providing ongoing support to CAFS teachers across New South Wales. Check it out at thelearnnet.com, along with so many free resources to support your CAFS journey. If you loved today's episode, please share it with your colleagues. Take a screenshot and tag me on Instagram at kellybell.coach. Don't forget to stay connected by subscribing to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you devoured today's episode, I'll be so honoured if you could please leave me a review. Come and say hi. Send me a DM on Instagram so we can work together in one of my courses, resources, masterclasses, coaching, mentoring, or membership. I'm Kelly Bell. See you again next week. Let's continue to connect, learn, and grow together to make a huge impact on the students we teach.